With the introduction of the Breacher, we have a new contender for the title of most powerful creature in the Pacific Rim universe. It's a battle of the heavyweights. It's a clash of the titans. Only one can walk away victorious. Clash of the Titans wasn't very good, was it? It's a shame that. Just a quick note to say, welcome to all the new subscribers. There's been quite a few new people joining the channel lately. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe for more Pacific Rim stuff, including my video discussing the future of Pacific Rim. Now, in my Apex versus Breacher video, I said that Apex would be in for an uphill struggle against the Breacher. But there were one or two ways it could win against this hulking bipedal mountain that Breacher seems to be. My way was by using the drift as an offensive weapon, but a few people mentioned in the comments that Apex could go for Breacher's eyes, one of its only weak spots, and remove his ability to see. And of course that's very true. It's not as original as what I did, but yeah, I guess if you want, whatever. I'm not sulking. Who's sulking? So as you see, as large and powerful as Breacher is, he does have vulnerabilities, but in my view, his main strength, his enormous stature, that long reach that he has, makes it almost impossible to get at these weak spots without taking one of these massive blunt force traumas that absolutely pancaked Mark III Jaeger Atlas Destroyer. But his opponent here today, ladies and gents, is no mere Mark III training Jaeger. Let's take a look at the MEGAKAIJU, the most ridiculously OP kaiju in Pacific Rim. Fact. A monster so ridiculous that the conventional scales of measuring and quantification don't seem to even fucking apply. So to get a better idea of just how powerful this guy is, I suggest using the Cat 5s as a comparison, as a benchmark to judge against. Yes. Weighing in at 7,865 tons, this thing's sheer mass is nearly incomprehensible. That's roughly the same as the Eiffel Tower at 10,000 tons, or a modern destroyer, which is 1,000 tons more than that Slattern at 6,750 tons. That's 16.5% heavier. The MEGAKAIJU is 419 foot high, which is actually 100 foot smaller than the Slattern at 596 feet. I'm guessing they're about comparable in terms of body length, although in an interview, Paul Giacopo noted that Slattern is 274 meters long, which would make it double than the 100 meter length that the MEGAKAIJU is written up as being. So I don't know what's going on there. Is Slattern's tail that long? No, it's more likely an inconsistency somewhere if you ask me. But overall, comparable in terms of stature, but the MEGAKAIJU is so much heavier, so we can deduce that much of that extra mass is muscle mass, so he's at least 15% stronger than the Slattern, perhaps even as much as 20% stronger. But let's go back to the Breacher and see if we can work out how big and strong he is. And all these are estimates, let's just get that on the table right now. There is no specifics out there yet. But we can, try a little bit of brain work with our brains. So I averaged up all the weights that I could find, and an average Cat 3 weighs about 2,500 tons. An average Cat 4's weight is about 3,000 tons, and an average weight of a Cat 5 is 5,000 tons. So if you plot that on a line graph, you can work out that a Cat 6 average weight, when you consider the incremental increase with each category, is just under 8,000 tons. Very comparable to the MEGAKAIJU's 7,800 tons. Thing is, that's a conservative estimate. If you look at how these figures are increasing incrementally from 2.5 to 3, then to 5, the next jump should probably be much bigger than the one I've allowed for. Now, the thing that might be throwing this whole thing out is the ridiculous weight of Slattern. His weight of 6,750, as stated by the wiki, does seem suspiciously high compared to the other Cat 5 that we have, Raijin, which weighs just over half that at 3,405 tons. If it turned out that the Slattern didn't weigh this much, it would bring the whole equation down. So that's why I'm going to go with a conservative estimate of 8,000 tons for Breacher. Ooh. So if we're using mass as a barometer for how much muscle these guys are packing, and therefore how strong they are, they're pretty similar. In terms of defensive abilities, they're both armored as fuck. I don't need to say any more than that. Let's talk about offensive abilities. I think you've got the ability to be quite offensive. Debbie, I haven't even started being offensive. The Breacher is a walking sledgehammer, a wrecking ball that uses momentum and weight to inflict massive blunt force traumas. We've seen him bulldozing Atlas through these huge rock formations that instantly turn to dust. He has these big, heavy hands that club and brutalize with strong clawed fingers that will rip and tear through pretty much anything. But what we didn't see from Breacher is anything more than brute force. And I mean no acid spitting like Itachi, no EMP pulse like Leatherback, no ability to grow plants like Chlorophyll Kid. As an amalgamation of Shrikethorn, Raijin, and Hakuja melded together by hundreds, literally hundreds of smaller robotic hybrid kaiju, MEGAKAIJU inherits all of their abilities. Raijin's ability to redirect kinetic energy, yep, it's got that. Shrikethorn spike-firing tails, yeah, got those too. The only thing that I can see that it gets from Hakuja are these large tusks, but I'm sure there's some other stuff too. Oh, he does get the 4 legs from Hakuja, that's right. But it also makes me wonder if he gains the ability to dig underground, and we just haven't seen it yet. Like he needed another ability. Most notably, the MEGAKAIJU can harness and release stored kinetic energy, in one example by striking the ground with its fist, unleashing a shockwave that can destroy numerous buildings and launch opponents into the air. It's got 4 legs and 2 arms, it's got 2 tails, its back is covered in bony shards, it's got enormous tusks, it's got, I can't remember how many brains, is it 3 brains?
3 secondary brains, 1 for each component kaiju.
It ripped Saber Athena's legs off, dismembered Brace of Phoenix humiliatingly, ragdoll Gypsy Avenger, but never before has it had to go up against something like this. Sorry. So I reckon this fight would be 2 sumos plowing into each other in a battle that initially comes down to torque and pushing power, a bid to topple the other before raining blows down onto whoever's unfortunate enough to fall. Breacher would probably hit harder initially, as we saw in the Black Season 2, and as I mentioned last time, he's a freight train when he gathers momentum. Thing is, MEGAKAIJU has those 4 legs, so he doesn't unbalance easily, and its limbs would probably end up digging in and scraping along the ground as he grapples with this enormous weight bearing down on him. I reckon it'll be round about here that Breacher starts to use those elbow spikes to dig into MEGAKAIJU's back. But eventually, Breacher would run out of momentum, and MEGAKAIJU can either start to push back, and again, as we saw in Season 2, he's quite easy to topple. I think the key thing here is that even if Breacher does land one of those colossal blows, the harder that he hits the MEGAKAIJU, the more kinetic energy he's putting through his body, and that is going to come straight back at him. So, unless the Breacher has some kind of special ability that we haven't seen, I'm fairly certain that MEGAKAIJU takes this. He has the more ferocious bite, he has double the amount of tails, which give him something at least in the way of a ranged attack. He's much more difficult to overbalance, and he might even be able to dig underground. But the fact that he can turn Breacher's most powerful attack back against him is the real killer. But who knows, maybe Breacher can launch himself into the atmosphere and Superman his way down and... Okay guys, gotta leave it there. Let me know if there are any kaiju matchups or Jaeger matchups that you would like to see. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss my detailed breakdown of Season 2 of The Black, plus my discussion on the future of Pacific Rim, if there is a future. So until then, let me kindly invite you to get out of my head, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and cheerio, bye!